Hi boys and girls, Miss Sparrow here again. Welcome back. Today's lesson is about adding and subtracting mixed numbers. We didn't do a lot with this year because you should have learned it also in 5th grade, but it's a really important skill to know, so we're gonna do some extra practice with it today. In today's lesson, I have a golden nugget saved somewhere in the lesson. Whoever solves the challenge problem that I present will, if you solve the challenge problem, then I will send you a $10 Amazon gift card online if you call me and give me the correct answer. So again, if you solve the challenge question that I put in the video, and send me the, not send me, and call me with the answer, then I will give you a $10 gift card to Amazon. And during our call, you explain to me how you did it. Maybe you can even take a snapshot of your work. Matter of fact, also a snapshot of your work. So first person, call, snapshot of work, you get $10 Amazon gift card. So pay attention, guys. This one, you'll actually get some money. What? Not kit money, real money. Well, Amazon money at least. All right. So our first problem is 5 2/5 plus 2 4/5. Now you might be asking, hey, Miss Sparrow, why are you lining it up like that? For addition, it doesn't matter nearly as much. But for subtraction, we know that order matters. And so we're going to be doing a lot of regrouping with subtraction in this lesson. And so I want to ensure that we have everything set up so that we can do that regrouping. It's just easier if you do it both ways for both types of questions. That way you don't mess up. All right, so we have 2/5, 4/5. We just add our numerators. The reason I'm able to do that is because my denominators are the same. So just going to add our numerators, 6/5, and then 5, 6, 7, 7 and 6/5. But we know we can't leave an answer like this because this is a fraction greater than 1. So we can think to ourselves, like I said in similar videos, look at that denominator. 1 whole would be 5/5. So that means we have 1/5 left over. So we need to add that 1 whole to 7. So that'll give us 8 and 1/5. 8 and 1/5. Remember, we box in our answers. I'm not sure if I've been doing that, but box in our answers so it's very clear to us and our teacher what the answer is. Next problem. Okay, here's our next problem. It is an addition problem as well. Here it's a bit different because if you notice, our denominators are not the same. If they're not the same, you cannot solve it until they are the same. So what I like to do is look at the denominator that is smaller and try to make it the denominator that's bigger. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you have to find the common denominator by finding the least common multiple. We'll get into that in the next problem. But for now, this works. So we're going to do 2. We know that we can get 4 by doing 2 times 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 2/4. So I'm going to rewrite my problem so it's nice and neat. And I add them. Again, I get a fraction greater than 1. So I know 1 whole here would be 4/4. That leaves me 1/4. So that's going to be 1 whole added to my 12 is 13 and 1/4. 13 and 1/4 is your answer for that problem. Okay, next we have a subtraction problem. And subtraction problems are much harder because there's a lot more rules that you're going to need to follow and regrouping. So let's get into it. So the first problem that we see, let's see if you can identify what the first problem is. Okay, great job. The first problem is our denominators don't match. That's the bad news. The good news is that we only need to, we can make 2 into 6. We can make an equivalent fraction. So we're going to make our new denominator 6. 2 times 3 gives us 6, top and bottom. So we're going to rewrite our problem. 12 and 3, 6. 7 and 5, 6. But now we've run into our second problem. Our second problem is just like in elementary subtraction, your number that's on top has to be bigger than your number that's on the bottom. If I only have 3 pencils, I can't give you 5. But what I can do is borrow. And borrowing in fractions just looks a little different. So we're going to need to take 1 whole from this 12. If I take 1 whole from that 12, that means I'm going to be left with 11. And that 1 whole as a fraction that I just took out turns into 6/6 because of our denominators that we luckily didn't have to change this time. So, actually we did, sorry. So we have 6/6. We need to add that to our 3 here. We need to add that to our 3. So we'll have 6 plus 3 is 9/6. Okay, so again, we had to regroup, meaning we can't take 3 from 5, or we can't take 5 from 3. So we had to come to our 12 and borrow 1 whole. That gave us our whole 11. So I'm just going to put that there first. Then I know when I take 1 whole out and I make it into a fraction, it has to be 6/6 because 6/6 is equivalent to 1. I add this numerator to this numerator. 6 plus 3 gives me 9. So I have 11 and 9, 6. And then I have 7 and 5, 6. Now, after much manipulation, meaning changing our denominators so that they are actually the same, and regrouping, we're ready now to subtract. So notice how much work had to go into subtracting that problem. We haven't even gotten to the actual subtraction yet. With subtracting fractions, those 2 steps are the hardest ones. Now we can get into it. So 9 minus 5 is 4. Easy. Denominators stay the same. And 11 minus 7 is 4. 4 and 4, 6 initially, but we know that 4, 6 can be, I'm going to write it over here because I ran out of space, can be simplified to 4 2/3. So 4 2/3 is your answer there. Now our next problem is 1/2 plus 9. What? How do you do that? We know how to do this. We know that any whole number, we need to put what to make it a fraction? A 1. But now what do I do? Because I can't just do 9 plus 1 and 2 plus 1. Now I need to make my denominators the same. And although we have a 9 here and a 1 here, this is what you're going to look at to try to make them the same. This 1 needs to become a 2. So do our equivalent fraction setup. 18/2. So you have 1/2 plus 18/2, which if you were to divide 18 divided by 2, you would get 9. So it's equivalent. It's just a different way of writing it. Equals 18 plus 1 is 19/2. Simple. So if you just remember our 1 under a whole number rule, this is pretty simple to solve. Okay. This last problem requires for us to combine all of the skills that we've learned. So first we want to set up our problem. So we have 11. What I would do here though, because I'm subtracting, order matters, I would set it up straight up and down, and I don't have a fraction, but I would visually just put 0/0 so I know I don't have anything there, and I'm not just writing 7/12 into my difference, because that's not true. So we have 5 and 7/12. So we know that we can't just bring this down and say we're done. We have to regroup. If I have 0, I can't take away 7. So I'm going to come over here like we did in another problem. That 11, we take away 1 whole, which is going to give us 10. But we don't just take it away. We move it. We move it over here. So how would I figure out what that whole is? Especially since I don't have a fraction here. Look at my denominator here. So my denominator is telling me 1 whole would be 12/12. So I have 10 and 12/12. 10 and 12/12 is exactly the same as 11. 10 and 12 twelfths is exactly the same as 11 because 12 over 12 equals 1 and 1 plus 10 equals 11. Then I have my 5 and 7 twelfths. Now I just subtract. So luckily this number 12 is higher than 7, so we don't have to do any more regrouping or anything like that. So 12 minus 7 gives us 5. Our denominator stays the same, 12. 10 minus 5 is 5. Your final answer is 5 and 5 twelfths. Now for your challenge or bonus question. Challenge bonus question. All right, our challenge bonus question for today is, and I'm not doing this every day, just hidden in some videos, 6 and 1/11 minus 4 and 2/5. 6 and 1/11 minus 4 and 2/5. If you call me with the answer to this question and send me a picture of how you solved it, you'll get it. And I wouldn't even say, oh, okay, I waited too long or I didn't see this video. Someone probably already got it. You don't know if they called, but they got it wrong. So you don't know unless you try. Have a good one, guys.